made a little bit of a mess. As soon as you start it, it just freaking pours. The good news is that it is tuned, and this thing is just gonna be an absolute freaking animal. Good morning, guys. As you can tell, it is pretty pitch black out. It's very, very cold. It's probably like 10 degrees, if that. Haven't checked. It is 5:48 a.m. So yeah, the last time you saw us, we were dropping the 2-valve off for the tuning session, which was like 2.5 weeks ago or so, and we got the call. It's all done. So yeah, today's gonna be an interesting video. We got some surprises for you. So definitely watch it all the way through. But without further ado, let's load the truck up and get down to Delaware. Alright guys, so we were about like 20 minutes away or so. Figured I'd give you a quick update on what happened when the car was gone. So the tuner had to adjust a few things regarding the vacuum lines going to the turbo, the turbo solenoid, wastegate, blow-off valve, all that stuff. We had a 4 block plate for the vacuum distribution, and we just basically wired a few things slightly wrong because we were going off the instructions for the company, but really On3's wastegate varies a little differently, so he just buttoned that up. We ended up having to get a whole fresh set of coil packs, which set us back like $300, maybe a little more, so that was unfortunate. I think not to my knowledge, back I think before I owned the car, there were different coil packs they subbed in, so basically they have to be all, you know, either OEM or the same brand, and it just made sense to get the fresh coil pack, so those were all replaced. He also raised the exhaust, which was a big issue for me because I kept the catback exhaust, so he welded on a little hanger and put it up to like the bell housing or near there, so that was good. That's all fixed. And yeah, he was actually pretty impressed. The car made pretty damn good power. I have the dyno sheet here. I'll put it in the screen. It made, on the first pull, I think 400, basically 18 horsepower, and the torque was 450, which is pretty damn good, and that was on 6.6 pounds of boost, so he wanted to up it a little bit based on what I told him, so he did another run, and he got 435 horsepower and 456 foot-pounds of torque at 7.5 pounds of boost, so I was actually really happy with that, and that's where he called it quits. He did mention anywhere above like 460-ish torque and above, that's when it starts getting a little sketchy with these motors. These 2-valve motors don't really like high RPMs. The torque is like the mid-range torque is kind of what tends to break rods or anything like that. So I wanted to keep it around that power range. Definitely can make a lot more. That's pretty low boost, all things considered. And I have the eBoost 2 Turbo Smart Boost controller, so I could easily turn it up whenever I want. But we probably got to build the bottom end a little bit first. But yeah, overall, super happy with those results. I'll put the dyno video in now. Yeah, so we're getting pretty darn close, and we do actually have a trailer, and that's for basically one main reason. When he was driving the car, on a back road right before, I think it was yesterday or the day before, just one final test run, make sure everything checked out good. He let it rip up to like 5,800, 6,000 RPM, and oil basically splattered everywhere and started smoking out the engine bay. So he had to pull over, get the car towed back to his shop and inspect it. And he said there's pretty much oil all over the bottom, so I'm not really sure, he's not really sure where exactly it came from. So unfortunately, that's why we're towing it. You know, once we get it back home, we'll take a look at it on the lift, and hopefully it's not too bad. We think we know what it is, but we're not entirely sure. He doesn't know either. But yeah, that was a quick update, and we'll see you when we get it on the trailer. As you guys can see, got the Mustang on the trailer, and we made a little bit of a mess. So yeah, it was a mistake to even start it. We should have just pushed it. I didn't know how bad it was. And as soon as you start it, it just freaking pours. Camera will be able to pick it up, but it is soaked. So yeah, there's not much more to say back here. We'll just get it on the road and get her home and fixed up. So let's hit it.
6.5 hours later.
Alright guys, so as you can see, we got the Mustang pulled in behind me here. We pretty much worked on Austin's S3 all day. We installed some Bilstein coilovers, so I think this video is going to drop before that one, but definitely check that out because we busted our ass all day and it looks pretty good. It's still got to settle a little bit. Yeah, we're pretty pleased with the results, but anyway, I didn't really get to film too much with the Mustang once we got it back to the house. I had to wait for Austin, our buddy, to push it off the trailer and push it in the garage, but I'll show you guys a little bit of the carnage you can clearly see in the engine bay. So here we are. Like you saw earlier, the oil, as soon as I started the car up, which I shouldn't have, it spewed oil everywhere, all over the asphalt at the shop down in Delaware. So I felt pretty shitty about that, but the guy was cool with it. And you can see all up on here, it's slung oil. So we believe it's somewhere, probably that oil relocation filter adapter plate. I'm hoping it's not something worse than that, but I'm assuming it pretty much just shot out of there and got on the belt, and then the belt pretty much just slung it everywhere. Like you can see over here, it's splattered. Down on the turbo, it's kind of hard to see down there. There's a little puddle of oil. It just looks super shiny because oil just pretty much got everywhere down in here. So I'm hoping that's the issue. We're gonna unfortunately have to take a lot of stuff off. We're gonna have to take driver's side header off. We're gonna have to take the rack and pinion off, all that stuff, front bumper, etc. All the suspension on here. So it's gonna be quite the process. But you live and you learn, and we're definitely learning the hard way, unfortunately. But honestly, the good news, the good takeaway from this all is that it is tuned. And like I explained in the truck, it makes, I think, 435 horsepower, almost 460 foot-pounds of torque. And this thing is just going to be an absolute freaking animal. So this isn't stopping us. We're going to get this fixed. And also, I forgot to mention, as you can see from earlier, the car sits really freaking low now on the coils. So we got a bump steer kit from UPR over here. So we'll install that, and that should help a good amount. The tuner was nice enough to adjust the alignment just a little bit because the steering wheel was about 9 o'clock and or 10 o'clock, and the wheel was straight, so there was a major alignment issue, which is, you know, to be expected. But yeah, this is current state of the Mustang. We're not going to start it until, you know, we get to diagnose and clean everything, and hopefully, fingers crossed, as everything's good, and then we can just let this thing frickin' rip. So definitely stay tuned, have your notification bell on. Unfortunately, this isn't the way I would like it to go, but you know, shit happens, so gotta live and learn. But we'll see you next time. Peace.